We got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SlooPcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Okay, Jared. I'm okay. We're still a little hyped up still from our previous recording that we just got done doing for Thursday's episode.
On that thought, in the chat right now, Chop Daddy, aka Sloop Daddy, aka Stuart E4US Vet, who is our guest picker today, would like us to know, fuck Michigan. I'm just reading the chat.
A team up north. All right, we got 6 games we're picking at for today's episode. If you want to listen to our conversation about the game, check out Thursday's episode. Without further ado, we will jump right into it. It is rivalry week, so we got a bunch of games to choose from here, and we'll start in the Northwest, Oregon and Oregon State. This game, 3:30 kickoff, ABC at Oregon State, and the Ducks are a 3.5 point favorite. It's a little surprising to see that number 3.5, right?
It feels a bit low. At first glance, It feels a little low.
But
Oregon, if you look through the stats offensively, yards per play, Oregon dominate. Points per play, Oregon dominates. Completion percentage, red zone scoring, dominating. 3rd-point conversion, it's higher. I wouldn't say dominating. But if we go over and we look at the defensive stats, Oregon State dominating. We have conflicting styles here. Oregon State, who traditionally is one of the worst teams in the Power 5, is not that bad this year. They're not a bad football team this year. This number might feel surprising to a lot of people. And again, if we look at against the spread, Oregon State is 9-2 this year. 9-2 against the spread.
Damn.
Oregon's 8-3 against the spread, though. So not much of a drop
really
there.
Good.
Not much.
Good.
Yeah, not much of a drop there. It feels like I'm walking away from points to not take Oregon -3.5. But if you look at Oregon State, once again, they beat their number against Arizona State by 16.5 points. They bested the number against California by 17 points. They bested the number by Washington by 1.5 points, but then 10 points, 11 points. Lately, the past 5 games, please keep dropping picks. In the past 5 games, they've not just been beating the number, but dominating the number. Whereas Oregon's just sort of been skating by. All signs, and I mean all signs, point towards take Oregon State.
So is that who you picking then, is Oregon State?
No, I'm picking Oregon. It's 3.5 points for one of the best scoring teams in the country. It just feels, I really should pick Oregon State, but I'm going to pick Oregon.
Yeah.
But it's what I do here. You've been here long enough, Austin. You know, whatever team I'm hyping up is probably the team I'm not going to pick.
Yep. I agree. I'm going to go with Oregon as well. They got a lot to prove. They have a very, very slim chance to make the playoffs, which I think we covered that on Tuesday's episode. So listen to that. We went real deep on that. But
we did a million playoff scenarios on Tuesday. If that's your sort of thing, go listen to Collegiate Chaos, which is our Tuesday episode.
All right. Next game here.
Kyle. Stuart.
It's Stuart.
Stuart's pick. Or Stewart says, Oregon will win this game with ease. Give me the Ducks. Ducks 47, Beavers 17.
Quack, quack. All right. Moving on to the Auburn and Alabama game. 3:30 on CBS. And Alabama is a 21.5 point favorite. That seems... On one hand, Alabama, man, it's just you look at Alabama, they've been struggling to what is their performance here? I want to say that they're not doing too well with the spread, aren't they?
Both teams are 5-6 against the spread this year.
Yeah, Alabama not doing too well recently, so.
I will say this, though. If you look at the past 3 games, Auburn is 3-0 against the spread, and Alabama is 0-3 against the spread if we just look at the last 3 games.
Yeah. And typically this game is always played closer.
Right.
So
I don't know if that's true.
I'll pick Auburn just because of that.
I think
Alabama will win with ease. And maybe that exactly 21 points, which would cover, but
Alabama, the past 6 games, 6 games have covered 1 time.
Ouch.
They didn't cover against Texas A&M. They didn't cover against Tennessee. They lost to Tennessee. They didn't cover against Mississippi. Excuse me. They did cover against Mississippi State. They were a 21 point favorite. They won by 24. They did not cover against LSU. In fact, they lost against LSU, and they did not cover against Mississippi. Bama wins this football game. Don't get me wrong. Bama wins this football game, but Bama probably wins this football game by like 17 points, maybe 20 points, maybe 21 on the dot. But I'm taking Auburn to cover. Not win. Don't get me wrong, but I think they cover.
Let's see what Stewart says. Bama has checked out, and this will open the door for War Eagles to soar with pride, but barely covering the spread. He has Bama 42, Auburn 21. That's funny. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
It's kind of what I'm thinking as well.
But the over-under in this game is 49.5. That seems really low.
Oh, here we go. Austin says last 10 Iron Bowls. Bama by 28, Bama by 49, Auburn by 6, Bama by 11, Bama by 16, Bama by 18, Auburn 12, Auburn 3, Bama 29, Bama 2. I appreciate that, Austin. Thank you. And like, aside from the last 2 games, those are relatively close scores, especially considering how good Bama's been in the last 10 years. I mean, if you really factor in how amazing Bama's been for the last 10 years, and then you just kind of ignore the last 2 games, that's not a bad performance by Auburn. Not bad at all.
All right.
I'm just saying, if you're Michigan, if you make Ohio State equal Bama and Michigan equal Auburn, you're probably taking those results.
Yeah, you would. All right, we're moving on to the Big Ten. We're moving to a Big Ten game here. Penn State still trying to find their rival. Is it Michigan State? I don't know, but they're playing this weekend, and Penn State is a 18.5 point favorite, playing on Fox Sports 1 at 4 p.m.
The Big Ten has been trying to manufacture this as a rivalry since the 90s when Penn State joined, and it's never taken. Penn State doesn't want a rival. Penn State is too good to be, and again, I'm speaking from the perspective of Penn State people. They're too good to be rivals with Michigan State. They're too good to be rivals with Pitt. They're too good to be rivals with Maryland. The one team they want to be a rival with is Ohio State, and guess what? Ohio State's too good to be a rival to Penn State.
Yeah. Uh, I, I'll go
Oh,
first here.
Austin says Penn State's rivalry is ethics. Burn.
I'll go
Fucking
first.
burnt.
I'll go first with this one. What was it? A 18 and a half point favorite. Even at 19 and a half, I'm still picking Penn State. Sparty's struggling to score, and Penn State's been scoring over
Insane.
40 points. Been scoring over 40 points in 4 of their last 5 games. Or if you want to even bring that down even further, they scored 30 points or more in at least their 5 games. I'm going back further. Also, they also scored 30 against Ohio State. Since Michigan, their Michigan lost. Since their Michigan loss, they've scored more than 30 or more points in every game. And
Yeah.
I don't trust Sparty to be able to score half of that, not even half of that. So I'll pick Penn State to cover.
Penn State, ever since they lost to Michigan, they've been playing on their heads. Now, they lost to Ohio State, acknowledged. They lost to Ohio State. But they played that game, I think, better than at least Ohio State fans were expecting. And they covered that in that game. They lost, but they covered. In fact, speaking of covers, Penn State has covered 5 of their last 5 games. Ever since losing to Michigan, Penn State has covered in every single game, including Minnesota. They beat the cover by 23 points. They beat Minnesota by 28 points. They beat the cover by 23 points. They do cover against Ohio State by 2.5 points. They were a 15.5 point dog. They lost by 13. Against Indiana, blew away the cover by 17 points. Maryland beat the cover by 19 points. Against Rutgers, beat the coverage by 26 points. Penn State's on a fucking hot streak. They're 8-3 against the line this year. Michigan State's only 3-6 and 2 against the line this year. Give me Penn State. If there was, some people might look at the Oregon game. We'll talk about the LSU Texas A&M game a little bit later. To me, if you had to bet your house on a game, those other games look ridiculous and they look more tempting. This game, I'm gonna take Michigan, or excuse me, I'm gonna take Penn State.
All right,
every day.
I think you've copied his thing twice here because I don't have his last 3 games here, but I'll read.
Oh, I got it.
What he has here for Michigan State here. He has here Michigan State has had their struggles, but this one will not be one for them. They'll lose it cover Michigan State 17, Penn State 35.
Last 3 games in the notes. It's also currently on the YouTube video, but that's okay.
Hold on, is that a cover? 35-17 is a 19. Yeah. I guess that's not. Okay. All right. Moving on. Iowa State and TCU. Sorry, I had to refresh my page there. Iowa State and TCU, 4:00 on Fox, and TCU is only Jared a 9.5 point favorite over a 4-7 Iowa State, who has only won 1 game in the Big 12.
Let me ask you this, Kyle. How many games, and don't look at your notes, look at the camera. Look straight at the camera for me. That's not the camera. That's the monitor.
Well, I'm looking at fine. I'm
look at the camera.
I was looking at you, but all right, go ahead.
How many games has TCU won by more than 10 points in conference?
In conference?
Yeah, we're not counting the FCS game. We're not counting Colorado. More than 10 points in conference.
I'm going to say 5.
The correct answer was achieved by Austin, which makes sense. He's our resident TCU expert. He says, I would guess 1. It's just Oklahoma, right? That is correct.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they beat Colorado by 25 points. They beat some FCS school by 42 points. We're not counting that. They beat Oklahoma by 31. They slammed Oklahoma. But every other game has been 10 points or less, which is why this is where this 9.5. You might be thinking to yourself, where's this 9.5 number comes from? Well, they beat Baylor by 1. They beat Texas by 7. They beat Texas Tech by 10, West Virginia by 10, Kansas State by 10, Oklahoma State by 3, Texas by 7. They don't win games in spectacular fashion. They do keep winning games, of course. They're undefeated. But big wins don't really appear to be their thing. That being said, they're still, miraculously, 8-2 against the spread this year, whereas Iowa State is 4-6 against the spread this year.
Iowa State, though, of all their losses, they have 7 losses. 6 of those 7 are by 1 score. Are they the new Nebraska?
I mean, you don't. Considering what happened to Nebraska the year after that, for Matt Campbell's sake, let's hope not. Survive and advance, baby. That's right.
I'm still going to take Texas Christian here. I'll still take TCU to cover. I know all those stats numbers kind of lead like, oh no, Iowa State should be able to cover here. I just think TCU is just a much better team and they should be able to cover. So
they're a much better team.
I'm going to stick with my gut here.
They're a much better team. I can give you a bunch of statistics to prove that, but you don't need it. You know, they're a much better team. They should be able to cover, but will they? I'm going to go yes, but man, you're going to be sweating. You're going to be sweating it out until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You're going to be like, oh, come on, TCU, cover, cover, cover. It's going to be an ugly cover, but it'll be a cover.
Yeah, Stewart disagrees. He says TCU's been, agreeing with what you're saying, but disagreeing with your pick.
Again, I always give the opposite case that I actually end up picking.
TCU has been beating teams by not much. Give me Iowa State with the points. TCU 27 and the Cyclones 21.
Just general question. This is an off-season question, so I'm just going to ask it, let it float out there, and we won't answer it.
All right.
Has this season hurt Matt Campbell as like the next hot football coach? And we'll just let that float out there. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and leave your answer in the YouTube comments. If you're in our Discord server, go ahead and let us know your answer to that in the Discord server.
All right.
Discord.thesloopcast.com.
Next game here.
I'm a YouTuber now. Committed genocide on that subscribe button, and don't forget the bell.
I'm just going to move on. So the next game here, LSU and Texas A&M were maybe at the beginning of the year we thought that their records might have been reversed.
Yeah.
But either way, LSU 9-2, Texas A&M 4-7. This is a 7:00 game on ESPN.
I know that was for me, Stuart.
And the Tigers are also a 9.5 point favorite here. I'm just going to go with my gut instinct. Texas A&M is just that bus is burning and it's been pushed off a cliff. There's no hope to save it at all. I want to say, and I haven't looked at any of your numbers you posted, Jared. I'm going to
don't worry, I'll tell you.
I'm going to guess Texas A&M has been just awful.
Yep.
Trying to cover the spread here. So I'll pick LSU.
Kyle, to confirm your guess, they are 3-7 against the spread this year. Of course, they're about 3-7 just in football games this year. So
yeah, there's that.
LSU, by comparison, is 7-4 against the spread. Significantly better. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, but Jared, everyone's expectations for LSU were very low at the beginning of the season, and Texas A&M's expectations very high at the beginning of the season. Therefore, those numbers must be skewed by that. You'd be wrong. If we just look at the last 4 games, let's make it 5 because it fits my narrative better. If you look at the past 5 games, LSU is 4-1 against the spread. Texas A&M is 0-5 against the spread. Even with the lowered expectation, Texas A&M is failing. Now, you know how I like to make a case, and then pick the opposite direction? Not doing it this time. Give me LSU.
All right. And before we pick the last game, Stuart here says Texas A&M will finally see a return on their investment. They'll not only cover the spread, but they'll cover the money line. A&M 35, LSU 21.
Wrong. I very rarely will just be like wrong, but wrong.
All right. And our last game, the second biggest game for the weekend here, Notre Dame and USC. Who would have thought Notre Dame, who was unranked going into after week 3, coming in, and they're now ranked 13th here, and they have a chance to be the spoiler maker and attempt to try to kick USC off of the playoff discussion here. USC is a 5.5-point favorite. It is at USC here. Oh boy, what do you got, Jared?
Kyle, do you see all the stats I put under the USC Notre Dame game in the show notes?
Let me scroll down.
Scroll on down.
Yeah, you have nothing.
Uh-huh. Let me tell you why I put nothing there.
Uh-huh.
Before I saw the spread, before I saw anything, I said to myself, I'm picking the underdog.
All right.
I think it's a 50-50 football game, and therefore if Vegas is going to pay me to pick one game or one team over the other team in the form of points, of course, I'm going to pick the underdog in this game. I think it's a 50-50 football game as to who wins. So I immediately said to myself, I'm just taking the underdog in this one. So that's what I'm doing. No analytics this time. No nothing. Who's against the spread and who's on what streak against. None of that. Give me the underdog. It's a 50-50 football game. You're going to give me 5.5 points to pick a team. I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm picking the underdog too. Notre Dame's been playing really well recently here. They've been destroying teams the past 3 games, including 2 of them being. I'm reading that backwards.
USC is favored, therefore Notre Dame's the underdog. I picked Notre Dame.
Yeah, they destroyed Clemson. They easily beat Syracuse. They easily beat Boston College that they should have. Navy, you just shouldn't play any of the academies, but they did escape a win there.
Which rule is that, Austin?
Other than that one, I think Notre Dame's been playing really well, but I mean, man, you almost want to maybe have one of our rules pick the quarterback, because Caleb Williams has been just stellar.
That's what I asked. That's what I asked Austin. Which rule is? Well, we have 2. When in doubt, pick the quarterback, and never play Navy or Army or Air Force. Those are two separate rules.
Yeah.
Rule 3 and Rule 4. There you go. We do have a pick, when in doubt, pick the quarterback rule. Austin is our lore master.
In the past 5 games, Caleb Williams has thrown for almost 380 yards per game.
Don't lose twice is in there somewhere, Stuart.
Yeah. Yeah, and 19 touchdowns in the past 5 games as well. So he's been just passing. I don't even know what he has rushing. Rushing, he has an additional 4 games. So he has over 20 touchdowns in the past 5 games here. So, man, he's. I think in some odds he's now the Heisman favorite because of his recent games here. Which, I mean, you can't blame it for 3,500 passing yards, 33 touchdowns. Yeah, you can't. I can understand why, but I feel that Notre Dame's defense is going to be able to shut him down more. So, yeah, I'll pick Notre Dame to cover as well. And Stuart here says, just simply, Notre Dame will win outright, 27-14. Wow. That's a low scoring. What is
it's
what's
got
the
to
lowest
be
score? What's the lowest score that USC has had this year?
That is a good question.
17.
Oh, it is.
Against
Okay.
Oregon State, 17-14. Minus that game, their lowest score that they've had was 30 to Washington State, and then before that is 41 to Stanford, and then everything else is more than 42 points.
Over under currently at 64.5 for the record.
How many games have they won by more than one score? That's a good question. Colorado
doesn't. Kyle, this is a recurring. Austin, this isn't a rule because it only applies to this season. Colorado doesn't count. Yeah. Colorado is basically an FCS school at this point.
I'm still going to count it though. But Colorado, Washington State, Arizona State, Fresno State, Stanford, and Rice. 6 out of 11.
Okay, Kyle, real quick, and this is something maybe we should have brought up on the Thursday episode. How many games has Ohio State? You might already know the answer to this. How many games has Ohio State won by double digits? So
every.
Okay, everyone. All right, everyone knew that. Everyone. Okay, maybe we didn't need to say it on the Thursday show. Then it appears that literally everyone already knows that. Literally everybody already knows that. Which
thanks to Steel Chambers that stayed intact.
Yes. Weekend. Time out. Zach Harrison and Steel Chambers.
You're correct. You are correct. Yes. Zach more so. Yes.
Tom Moore said that, or you said Toby, but I corrected it. I know you know. I know you said it on purpose.
I got an interesting thing. Remind me after the episode here that I will put in our Sloop Cats only channel.
Oh, Kyle with the monster plug. You're going to hold back data. You're going to paywall data.
I am.
You're not just going to put it in the Discord, which we want everyone to join. We want everyone to go to discord.sloopcast.com and join the Discord, where most of the channels are totally free to access. The server's free to access. And the most of the channels in the server free to access. There is, however, a Sloop Cats only section where you do need to be a Patreon to access those channels. You can go to Patreon.
$3.
For $3 or less, as a matter of fact, or more. You can get less than $3 if you do a full 12 months up front. That gives you like a 11-12% discount if you do the full 12 months up front. But if you choose to go month to month, it is $3 a month at least to access the premium section of the Discord. You get that. The premium section of the Discord includes the ability that Stuart and Austin are currently using to listen to us record, give us live feedback. Hi, Austin. Give us live feedback, distract me, and then get mad at me for being distracted, as what happened on the Thursday episode. That's a thing that they do to me. The distraction is the most fun. I know you feel that way, Stuart or Austin. And so again, for $3 a month, you can do more. You don't have to. There are additional benefits for like the $9.99 package. There are additional benefits, but you get all of the digital access you want for that $3 tier. Again, it gives you access to the Discord server. It allows you to listen to us record these live. It also gives you your own custom podcast feed. You can take this URL. It's an RSS link. If any old heads out there know what that is, take this RSS link, you put it in your podcast app, and you're getting early access to the show. It releases, if a show typically releases Thursday morning, you will typically get it Wednesday night, and so on and so forth in that. But maybe more importantly, you don't get those annoying Spreaker ads that play before and after and during the show. Those pre-recorded ads that you might be getting in the podcast feed, those are gone. You won't get that on your Patreon exclusive link. And there are other benefits too that I'm getting tired of hearing myself talk, so I'll leave it at that. But there are additional benefits, and if you want to see those additional benefits, you can go to Patreon. Nope. I'm gonna back that up. Patreon.thesloopcast.com. It's always something.thesloopcast.com. For example, there's also merch.thesloopcast.com. There's discord.thesloopcast.com. There's patreon.thesloopcast.com. There's twitter.thesloopcast.com. There's youtube.thesloopcast.com. There's spotify.thesloopcast.com. There is apple.thesloopcast.com. There's onlyfans.thesloopcast. No, that one's Austin. You're not that's paywalled, buddy. You're not supposed to acknowledge that exists.
Or you can find all of these over at just thesloopcast.com.
Yes, you can find Jerry does too many links. Well, we have a campsite page. If you don't know what a campsite page is, it's a what's the more popular version of that called? Tree link, something like that. Linktree. I said it backwards. Thank you, Austin. Linktree. It's a Linktree site, except that it's a campsite site. It's literally the same thing. So yeah, all of that, you can find links to all the other links at just thesloopcast.com. Buttcheeks.thesloopcast.com is another one that you're not supposed to be talking about, Stuart. That's for paying people only. You're not supposed to be talking about that. All of that at sloopcast.com. thesloopcast.com. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
How about them Buckeye basketball team, Jared?
Holy shit. December's coming. We'll get to talk about basketball here in a little bit.
Oh, holy shit. The Buckeyes have been on a roll here. Other than their loss that they had to San Diego State, but they've done really well. I mean, they had moments against that San Diego State that looked like they were making a run, and then San Diego State made a couple of plays to keep the lead and all that. But their past two games, though, against Cincinnati, just crushed Cincinnati by 28 points. Who also just crushed Louisville today. And then beat Texas Tech, who Texas Tech was favored in this game. So it was a great way to finish off their trip down in or over in Maui. So I anticipate the Buckeyes to be ranked after this, which they have a big game heading on down to North Carolina here, Jared. this next week.
Gee, Kyle, did you get tickets?
There's not enough Discord money for me to go to that game.
If you want Kyle to be able to afford tickets to get into a Duke home game, please go to patreon.thesloopcast. Yeah, it's a tiny arena. I mean, considering it's Duke basketball, which is an enormous brand and insanely popular and very supported, it's a relatively tiny arena. It's very difficult to get tickets. Yeah. But by the way, San Diego State is like 17th, or at least they were 17th when they played. So if you're like a football head and you think, ooh, San Diego State, it's a good it's a good basketball team.
Okay, it's not too bad. I was expecting it to be a little bit worse, but
and yes, Texas Tech was 21.
It's about the cheapest tickets is about $160 right now, Jared.
Austin said he found one for $135. He must be using a better site than you. And if you want to know what that site is, have that site reach out to us and pay for advertising. Don't you dare tell them, Austin. I will delete it. Austin has the hookup on the best ticket price.
Because there is only 9,300 seats in that indoor facility. Not many seats to go around there.
I'll tell you if you join the Sloopcats. There you go. He'll be posting that in the Sloopcats only section of the Discord.
Yeah, but yeah, great wins over Cincinnati and beating Texas Tech, who was ranked at the time that Ohio State beat them. Today, as we're recording, Jared, but on Wednesday for our Friday listeners here. But Sewing went off, 33 points, 8 rebounds in that game. In his home state, of course.
Right. And hey, like, I forgot what I was going to say. Lost it. Oh, I was going to say, Kyle, if you're going to buy those tickets, you should maybe buy them soon. Because if Ohio State becomes ranked, those ticket prices might go up. People might be like, Ohio State sucks this year. I'll go to a different Duke game. Well,
then that means that I'm going to be missing our recordings, Jared. Because it's next Wednesday. Is the game.
Meanwhile, Austin's down there like, yes, tag me in.
But yeah, great to see that the Buckeyes are.
He's busy anyway.
Playing really well here, and yeah. We'll see how they do against the Blue Devils next week.
There you go. All right, Kyle, is that it? Is that the show?
That is the show, Jared.
Okay. All right. We will once again, like we did on Thursday, be playing the Dead Schembechlers. So, with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is the Dead Schembechlers.